Hello everybody. I'm going to make a quick ad hoc video here for Fusion 360. A couple of things I'm going to run over with you here. I'm in my system right now, but I want to show you a couple of things. Run back over to my window here. This is one of the best videos that's out there. It's Fusion 360 Sketch Constraints by Taylor Stein. Taylor Stein produced this a couple of years ago. Okay, and when you do get to constraints, I'm going to show something in Fusion 360 that it's so obvious that it's not explained, and that's what I'm going to show a couple things here. They're so obvious they're not explained, and I ran into a couple problems here, or had to hunt around for the answers at least. Okay, I'm working back in Fusion 360 after a year and a half away, and it's really good to be back. I just love the way it's working now, and I wanted to sharpen up my game, so I bought the parametric modeling book from Randy Shih, and it's a really good book. If you've already done Fusion 360, it's quite helpful because you can kind of guess through some of the lines. It sure is two different things, hunting down YouTubes that help you out versus just going through pedagogically through this book step by step and rebuilding kind of a knowledge base I had. I've learned a few things, and that's why I made this video. A couple things came up while I'm getting my feet wet again, getting back in here, but I do recommend the book. It really helps to have used Fusion 360 a little bit to have at least some basic concepts because I find that I'm now such a big consumer of YouTubes where you see, videos worth a million words, that going back to reading takes a while. It takes a lot longer to get through things, but I had to go back and start stepping through it and discovering some things that were kind of helpful. I'll show you a couple things there about that. Okay, so that I think I got off at Amazon. It was about $55 book. Just worked out great. And so let's go back to the system. So I've shown you the constraints, understanding the constraints. That the video from Taylor Stein is really helpful. Go back to our system over here. Okay, so in our system, I want to show something that I think I forgot that I figured out before, and I had to figure it out again. But I'm going to do a quick sketch here. Do a sketch and sketch going with a rectangle. So I'm just going to paint really quick rectangle here. It doesn't matter how big it is. We're in millimeters and all that. Okay, and I want to put a hole in this. Okay, and I said to myself, well, why don't I just put a circle here? Okay, so I'm going to put a circle in here, and I'm going to put a hole right through this thing. I said, hit enter. Fine, great. And I'm going to extrude this. Okay, and let's take it out 25 millimeters, right? And it creates a hole in it as is. Now, I do not know in fab, when you go to manufacture this thing, whether that's going to cause a problem or not. It just kind of doesn't work super great, right? So let me flip this around a little bit on my screen here. Okay, so this is the top view, I think. Yeah, we're coming around to the top view. And, I said, let's be thorough with this. And I said, let's extrude the hole. Okay, I said, okay, now let's extrude the hole. And I said, sure, let's grow this thing up. I'm just going to grab it, tear it out as shown. And let's see how we're going to do this. We're going to do a cut. I said, let's do a cut through this. And as soon as I do a cut, I got this error. And I got stumped for about 10 minutes on this before I just tried this out. I wanted to share it with you because you might end up trying to do this thing yourself. I just thought it was good measure to say, yes, I really want to bore a hole through here. And from that circle, I would extrude the cut. And it gives you an error. Just going to tell you that. I ran into that a bit. That's not the way to do it. Okay, so a couple different ways. I'm going to show you the typical way when I got back to the way that I used to do it. Okay, so let's do an escape out of there. And let's do a Control Z, Z, Z. Let's get out of here. And one way to do this is let's get rid of this thing right here. I'm just going to delete that. So we've gone quite a ways back now. All right, so now I'm going to extrude this one more time. And we're going to go up to 25 millimeters. Take it up there. I said, okay, great. That looks good. Okay. So then we're going to turn on, we can do this a couple different ways. We can turn our sketch back on here again. And well, anyway, I can come down here. I can edit my sketch. Let's come back to edit sketch. And I'm going to draw that circle once again. Now that I have the 3D form, I've dragged this out into the to the Z axis. We have three dimensions on this thing. Okay, so then I can say, okay, great, got that set, all done. Let's just stop the sketch there. So we have our piece, and I can see that the sketch underneath there. I can see the circle that I drew, and now we can do the extrude like we normally would do. Okay, so with that on, I'm going to flip this upside down. So just to make sure everybody can see what's going on. Flip this upside down a little bit. I want to be able to show that right there. And I'm going to do another extrude and say, what do I want to extrude from? Say this. I think it's going in the right direction. I'm going to drag that out for grins. It says cut, and we're going to say all. And it makes it all the way through. That's the way to do it. The other way does not work. And I don't know why I wanted to do it the other way, but it just seemed like the way to do it. And it doesn't work. So I just want to show that. Hit enter. And now I can flip that around a little bit and just show that's the bottom side. There's the top side coming around. You have that hole through there. Now, the thing that I found out in the book that I had not been using, I don't remember using this before, is actually just using a hole. Okay, so we can enter a hole. There's very few commands in Fusion 360 that have those keyboard shortcuts, but it's important when there's a hole. Okay, so instead of doing that extrude business, you can actually just punch through, make a hole. It anticipates something here that I'm wondering about. I do 3D printing. I don't do CNC with this, and they set up some drill types. So some drill parameters here if you want to set this up for how it's actually going to be drilled. Of course, that comes up right when I'm doing a video. All right, so you can get a hole there. You can just say enter, and it knows it will do it. Actually, I think it shows that there's a chamfer down there from the bit, the tip of the bit on there. So once again, I'm going to flip this around to take a look. So that didn't go all the way through. Control Z. Okay, and I'm going to do that one more time. Let's do a hole, find out what's going on. We're going to collect that right there. And we're going to go through all. That's what it was. So then I hit all on that, and when I hit enter, just like when we do an extrusion, when you hit all, it'll get all. So that's what it is. It says punch that drill right through, and I think when you convert it to CAM file, then it knows how far to push the drill through there. Okay, so those are a couple things I hope that were helpful. One other thing that I'll do is this is something that got me hung up a little bit. Let's see if I do sketch, and let's do line here. So I'm going to do the XY plane, and I'm just going to do a quick triangle with a line here. And it sounds funny, but it took me 10 minutes just now to figure this out. Okay. So at this point, I can grab any one of these points. It's totally unconstrained. Okay. And if I say, let's go to make things perpendicular. Perpendicular right there. I'm going to grab that and that. Okay. And it puts the little perpendicular sign down there. Okay, so it took me a while. I was way overthinking this, and I was thinking that there was going to be some kind of pop-up menu here that we could use to get rid of that. We could remove it. I thought maybe what we did was you like a button. It's either on or off, like a radio button. And so maybe what we would do is just select these things, Control, select the other arm there, and then I'd come down here and I would click perpendicular, and it yells at you. It says it's already perpendicular, so it's not an on-off kind of thing. And finally, I just tried selecting that symbol, just click the symbol, delete, and away it goes. Okay, so that just was something. That's why I was back into that constraint video that I showed you, because I was trying to figure out how to undo it. And I went through the whole 8.5 minutes of the video, and Taylor never mentioned how to get rid of a constraint like that, and it was so obvious. So this one says horizontal. This thing that looks like a little mustache or something, and you can delete that. So I just got rid of both of them. So hopefully, if you run into these couple little things, that was helpful.